This video is going to be my reaction to the Lions trading up to pick 24 to take Terrion Arnold in last night's first round of the NFL draft. The Lions have completely rebuilt their defense in the last couple of months with the addition of Terrion Arnold now on top of all of the free agent signings that they brought in. Arnold's a versatile corner, 2 years of full-time experience in Alabama's system. 5 interceptions last year in 2023, so that gets a lot of notice. The ball skills, the ability to turn the football over. 12 passes defensed as well. Did have 2 interceptions, I believe, against Auburn, including one that sealed that come from behind win, one against LSU. Very smart, smooth, physical corner who looks non-pressed, meaning even when he's got to run full speed to keep up with a receiver, he doesn't look stressed. It doesn't look like anything is above his ceiling. I think he's a very versatile chess piece, and I think he fits with the Lions DB group really well. Mostly played left corner, but did move around some to play man against particular receivers in Alabama's system occasionally. I think 25% of his snaps were in the slot when he, quote, traveled. I really love the Lions DB group at this point, to be honest with you, between Branch, Joseph, and Melifonwu at safety, and now you've added Arnold to Carlton Davis III, Amik Roberts, and Gilmore, who I think was an underrated guy, as well as some of the veterans that they brought back. The defense has been upgraded. The upgrade for the defense is incredible overall, if you ask me. I think Brad Holmes and those guys deserve credit. They've got a reliable foundation to an offense that is going to produce points. And in this division looks drastically different than it did a year ago, in my opinion. A year ago, in a draft response or draft reaction video I did, I said I think the Lions are going to win 12, 13 games and win this division going away. That did end up happening, but the Packers made incredible jumps. Well, now the Bears have as well. The Bears offense has leveled up. Packers are going to be formidable on both sides of the ball. Not a huge fan of the Vikings draft, combined with some of their free agent signings, but nonetheless, Detroit has got a more difficult task ahead of them in their division because of the strength of schedule, making it to the NFC title game, and then the improvements that the Bears and the Packers have made. I think they have great potential with this in their DB group, with this selection. Short term and long term. Trading up to get Arnold tells me that he was the guy they wanted at corner, and Brad Holmes has confirmed that. I don't make a habit of watching press conferences, but I thought I should watch this one. And he revealed that, he was their number one guy. Quinyon Mitchell, in terms of corners, Quinyon Mitchell had just gone off the board at 22 to the Eagles, I believe. So the Lions jumped ahead of the Packers, 24, to go ahead and take Arnold, give them 3 guys. Look, it's a tremendous upgrade in talent just getting Arnold. And when you combine that with all of the free agent signings and guys that they brought in, it's a complete overhaul. Maybe I shouldn't say complete. There's still things that you'd like to address on the defense in terms of the whole defense, but for the DB group, incredibly complete group. I really don't need to remind you as a Lions fan, but I think it's remarkable the guys that they've been able to bring in free agency and now here in the draft, at least in round 1. DJ Reader, a dominant defensive tackle. Davis, an experienced corner over there who's physical as hell. Robertson, who's kind of a jack of all trades, really good as a right corner. Marcus Davenport, underrated signing if you ask me. And then also brought back 3 corners, one of which was injury riddled, obviously, in Emmanuel Mosley. Kendall Vildor and Khalil Dorsey, a special teams ace. I think the DB room is really, maybe you add one more safety. The DB room is the most complete looking group to me, along with inside linebackers. In terms of personnel, when you get to the Arnold signing, how are they going to utilize all these guys? Let's just do nickel for a moment, meaning the offense has 11 personnel on the field, 1 running back and 1 tight end, 3 receivers. What will the Detroit Lions respond with? Well, they've got a lot of options, first of all. You could have Carlton Davis III and Arnold as your outside corners. Amik Robertson has really good film at right outside corner from 2023. I think up through week 7, he played a lot of nickel, and then they kind of moved him over. Maybe it was up through week 9, moved him over to play right corner. I did a film study video, so I should remember the exact date or the week. Point is, Robertson can play both. He can play slot, corner, nickel, and he can play outside corner on the right-hand side. We know Branch spent a lot of time there in the slot as a rookie, and he was incredible for the most part. Occasional problems with holds and penalties on third down. I can remember four of them. I think there was a couple of more, but I can remember four. I think one of them was quite of a weak call, in my opinion. I think Branch could end up playing more half field safety as a result of this selection. The trickle down effect. If Arnold is as good as Brad Holmes and the front office clearly think he is, myself included, from the film that I've watched, I'm going to make it a point to go back and watch some more film of Arnold and the Ravens' first round corner that they picked, Nate Wiggins, to put some stuff out on Patreon and my Twitter for you guys to enjoy that support me. I think Branch could end up moving and playing more half field safety, but it's an interesting group in that you have Melifonwu, Branch, and Joseph. Are they still going to be in on a safety? Meaning a safety who isn't primarily a nickel, maybe even a safety who's just not capable of playing nickel at all. Because you now have two guys, Robertson and Branch, with NFL film of them being capable of doing that, and a third player, Terrion Arnold here, who spent, like I said, and maybe my numbers are wrong, 23 to 25% of his snaps last year at Alabama was in the slot. Please feel free to correct me in the comment section. Is it possible that Brad Holmes and those guys go after another safety? Sure, I guess it is, but I really project this group to be really high ceiling and high floor as well. I think that's how Brad Holmes described Terrion Arnold as a prospect. I think it applies to the whole group. When you got Joseph, Branch, and Melifonwu at safety, you've got versatility, particularly in Branch and Melifonwu. Melifonwu is to me, he's such a jack of all trades. He's a guy who can play in the box, a guy who's really exceptional as a blitzer, better in coverage than people want to give him credit for. In my opinion, I think it's a really good group of safeties. And those three guys played well together on the field in 2023. It kind of brings up a potential issue, if you ask me. It's a good problem to have, don't get me wrong. For your base defense, so we're talking about going against 21 personnel or 12 personnel or occasionally 22. Who's going to come off the field? Meaning you've got Arnold, Robertson, and Davis III as corners, and then Branch, Joseph, Melifonwu. Well, there's six guys there, and only four are going to be on the field in your base defense. Whether you consider their base defense to be a 3-4 or a 4-3, they've used both. They still have to address the outside linebacker position, in my opinion. Trading away pick 73 makes it more difficult to do so because now you have one less pick, obviously, but they got the guy they wanted. Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell in the front office felt passionate enough to move up, get in front of the Packers. I do think there's something to be said there. I don't know if Holmes has addressed it from the standpoint of the Packers possibly being in on a corner and then trading in front of them to essentially leapfrog them. Cooper DeJean or Cooper DeJean, however you pronounce his name, ends up not being selected in the first round at all. So from a Lions standpoint, I would understand there may be some people who say, well, they didn't need to trade up to get him. Well, they didn't know that at the time that it occurred. They saw the player they wanted. They used the draft capital to move up and get him. I applaud the pick because it's another example, if you ask me, of the Lions identifying a player who they want, who they think is the best at the position, and then going ahead and doing whatever's necessary to go and select them, to put themselves in position to get the players they want. I don't know, perhaps you disagree, and feel free to let me know in the comment section. One thing to mention, Davis's contract, which I think he reworked to prorate some of the bonus stuff. I think there's an out after this year. Maybe it's after 2025, but I believe there's an out after this year. Let's say he comes over and plays poorly. You've got positional overlap in Terrion Arnold, another very capable corner, and Robertson over on the right side. Robertson's free agent contract was a 2-year deal that ends after 2025. So the overlap of the contracts, meaning a high-level corner, Terrion Arnold, drafted in the first round, you've got for 4 years with the possibility of a 5th-year extension. The first 4 years, obviously, at a low rate for the talent level that you're getting. That lines up really well, if you ask me, with the contracts of Davis III and Robertson, and even to a lesser extent, the two guys that signed 2 days ago, St. Brown and Sewell. By the way, I was halfway to trying to produce a video on St. Brown that day, and as you can tell from the sound of my voice, I started to feel really ill. I believe it was Wednesday early morning, early afternoon, so was unable to get anything accomplished. My apologies for that. I really like the fact that they took a high-level corner this year to go along with all the depth they already had at that position. Mosley, Vildor, and Gilmore, if you ask me, are depth guys at this point. Hopefully Mosley, for his sake, is able to come back and play. But at this point, where? Where does he play on this Detroit Lions team? I don't think he does. Compared to Arnold and Davis and Robertson, you just have better film, in my opinion, even though I thought Mosley at the time they signed him was a good signing for this team. The upgrade in talent on the defensive side is spectacular, in my opinion. I don't know if this is an A-plus pick in and of itself, Terrion Arnold. But from the defensive side of the ball, it's a different world for what the Lions have at their disposal, in my opinion, from a talent standpoint, potential standpoint with Terrion Arnold, because we haven't seen him perform in the NFL. But all of those other guys, those other free agents, we've seen them execute multiple schemes at the NFL level and make plays. I think Brad Holmes and those guys have done a great job upgrading the defense. They still have to look at interior offensive line, in my opinion. Possibly receiver. It's a deep receiver draft, and now they have one less pick to do it. So I expect and anticipate that there will be people in the comment section who will have some negative things to say about the fact that you had to trade up to get it done. Could you have gotten a corner at 29? Maybe not Terrion Arnold. Sure, you could have got a Nate Wiggins or Cooper DeJean, Kool-Aid McKinstry. This is the guy they wanted. And with the connections they have to Alabama staff, I have to give credit to Brad Holmes and those guys for getting this done the way that they did. Is it going to work out, quote unquote? Is Terrion Arnold going to be a shutdown corner? I don't know. I mean, his combine numbers maybe don't look great. Sure, 4.5 40, 4.5 I have no idea what he did at a pro day, if anything at all. I'm looking forward to watching the film of it. In fact, as soon as I get done recording this, that's what I'm going to do, to try to produce something on my Patreon for those who support me related to Terrion Arnold with my commentary. I think the level of competition he's played against speaks for itself. The level of coaching he received at Alabama and what those coaches were able to relay to Detroit's guys also speaks for itself. Additionally, you've got multiple guys on the roster already. Brian Branch, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, not as much overlap with Jameson Williams, but those guys have experience in the Alabama program, and they know what people think of Terrion Arnold, or they've been in meeting rooms and on the practice field with him. I think it's a spectacular pick. I don't give grades, but I really love the pick. I'd be interested to hear what your opinion is. I can't wait to get to more of the film and try to put it up on my Patreon and in the Discord, our Discord for the Lions. I try to make threads where people can just look at a sequence of plays for a player and try to evaluate things themselves. And, we go back and forth talking about the quality of the play, what coverage it was. And I think Terrion Arnold plays multiple coverages very well, particularly man. A Florida guy. So, yeah, you have to adjust to the cold because he played it. He's from Florida, went to Alabama. Well, they play in a dome in Detroit, and they play in a dome in multiple other places as well, besides Green Bay and Chicago. So I look forward to hearing what you guys' perception is of the pick or your evaluation and how excited you are for rounds 2 and 3 tonight, even though now the Lions have one less pick. I appreciate your time, man. If you were able to tolerate and put up with my voice, still very under the weather, I thank you, and I appreciate that. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this commentary look at Terrion Arnold, the Detroit Lions first-round selection, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, share it out on social media to help this content get more reach.